Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, here with my co-host, Mr. Rufus Carpenter. Tonight's topic is a sensitive one, the outside child. When infidelity brings a baby into the marriage. This conversation is not about judgment or shame. It's about honesty, healing, and making space for the emotions many women silently carry. If this topic feels personal, move gently with yourself tonight. You are safe here. And to, let's take a breath together and begin. All right. Thank you so much, as always, for showing up. I know that Sunday night at 9 is a huge sacrifice for everybody. I know this is a Memorial Day weekend. A lot of you guys may be celebrating inside or outside, depending on where you're located and the weather, because I know it's raining in the Atlanta area. But I do thank you, as always, for showing up. And before we dive into tonight's topic, this is a part two of last week. The fire started blazing last Sunday and it kept going. So we are going to create a series on this because this is one of the topics one of our participants brought to our brought brought to our attention, that he felt as if this is a scenario that a lot of women are facing, and he wanted us to create content for the topic of discussion on tonight. And as I stated last week, I mean, the fire started, blazing, and it continued up until, if I'm not mistaken, after 10 p.m. So I'm going to let Mr. Carpenter chime in and share a couple of words, give us a small recap from last week, and then we're going to pick up where we left off with our examples.
Good evening, everybody. Like she said, like Coach Glenda said, last week was a good one. As last week we went into actually beginning to talk about what it is look like. What are some of the things? What are some of the thoughts that come through your head when you're talking about having a baby outside of marriage, especially when the couple are so committed to each other. It started last week with a great conversation. A lot of last week was just fleshing out these actual events. What are some of the things that happens? We spent the majority of time last week talking about the lady in the middle, the wife, and what some of the things she would go through, what some of the things would be on her mind. She would figure, how does she fit in a relationship now? If she stayed, is she being respected by her husband or the outside? And how does she deal with an innocent child when so much is going on in her own life? And the one thing about it, how does she deal now with the person that her husband cheated with now having lifetime contact because of the child? That's a lot to deal with. And when we went through the scenarios, one of the first scenarios we went through is the affair that produced the baby. We talked about that, what that looked like. What was that what was the probably biggest part of that for the wife? Then we talked about that scenario where he hid it. He knew he had a child outside of wedlock and then bring it to the wife. So when the wife found out about it, it was like two whammies. One, my husband had an affair outside of marriage. Second, he hid it from me. So not only am I betrayed with the child, I'm betrayed with trust. Can I trust my husband anymore? Or does he still feel like he's my husband anymore, pretty much? Then we kind of ended it there with the scenarios, because we know we want to get to more scenarios. And our goal is to bring the scenarios out first so we get it all out. And then once we do that, then we go into the healing part. So like Glenda said, last week was a good one. We had a lot of audience participation. So this week, I think it's going to be the same thing, because you got to realize almost everybody in our audience, everybody on the line tonight have been affected by this some form of fashion, whether they were the people involved or whether some of their family or friends that didn't know about are involved. So we're all infected. We're all affected by this. So let's talk about it. Glenda?
All right, so we're gonna pick up with our scenarios. Um, this one is called The Baby Mama Still Has Access. The baby mama still has access. This is when the other woman must remain connected because of the child, but boundaries are unclear. I understand the child needs their father, but why is she calling at midnight? Why are there private conversations I don't know about? This is where many marriages keep bleeding. Co-parenting must be structured, not emotional. Access to the child does not mean unlimited access to the husband.
Can you state that again, please? Because I want to make sure we all have a great understanding. Because that one part when you said why, why are the private conversations she don't know about? I think real question is, what are the private conversations she don't know about? Not why. What are they? So can you go through that again, Glenda?
I sure can. No problem. The baby mama still has access scenario. This is when the other woman must remain connected because of the child, but boundaries aren't clear.
Hold on.
I understand
Hold
the
on.
child needs their father, but why is she calling at midnight?
We'll all be on the phone.
Why are, why are there
Go, go ahead and finish. Then we let Sharon talk. Go ahead.
private conversations I don't know about? This is where many marriages keep bleeding. Co-parenting must be structured, not emotional. Access to the child does not mean unlimited access to the husband.
We'll let Sharon start this one off. Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay. What I was saying, hi everybody. What I
Hello.
was saying was, ain't no 12 o'clock at night, midnight calls unless we on a conference call. That's the only way that's gonna happen. Because ain't nothing you got to talk about at no midnight.
And that's what I was saying about because Coach Glenda said, "Why are the private conversations that she didn't know about?" It is not why; it's what are they? Because if from this point on you're supposed to have transparency in a relationship, because especially the husband's trying to find his way back into his wife's heart or into his wife arc of safety, I could say, he would have to have transparency. And that's what my conversation was. What would be the conversation they'd be having? Go ahead, turn it back over.
Nothing good.
Nothing good, huh?
No, I think that when you have a baby mama involved, the first thing is respect for the wife. It's you already got this baby on the outside, but she needs to respect the wife. And also, the husband needs to respect the wife by communicating with her what's going on so that she doesn't have to worry about, is what this call is about or whatever. But calling at 12 o'clock at night, that's a no unless the child is sick. And that's when the both of them should go.
I agree. Those were my same thoughts.
Oh no.
Go ahead, Sharon. What you say? Oh no, what Sharon?
No, I never really faced this kind of situation, but I don't know. I think it wouldn't be no husband, baby mama, and me. It'll be a baby mama and a me. You know what I'm saying? I think me and the baby mama gonna have to handle this child. I mean, he would have assets, but as far as like billings and appointments and money situation, no, I don't even think he got to say so no more.
Why you say that?
I don't think he would have a say so anymore because I wouldn't trust him and her talking because or I want to know everything. I don't want to know half of nothing. I want to know everything. So I'm gonna be the one doing the negotiating and scheduling, whatever.
Okay.
I think Sharon's point, if the woman is a strong woman that realize, hey, it's a done deal, the child is here now, and if we're going to proceed, I'm a mother myself of our own children. So since I'm a mother of our own children, and this child has come into our life, I want to also not so much be the mother, but I also want to make sure that I'm in the decision making for this child as long as me and my husband are involved. So that's what I think Sharon is trying to
Yeah,
take
that's
that
what I'm
role.
saying.
Is that
Yeah,
correct, Sean?
yeah, that's
Sharon?
what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a strong woman to do that.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, a woman's not so strong. She may be totally withdrawn from the child altogether. She may not want to have anything to do with the child or the husband. And that's the other part of that.
Right. Yeah. I think that we were saying that last week that it takes a special type of woman to handle this this type of scenario. This is not a scenario for the weak and frail. You have to really be headstrong. You have to have a forgiving heart, a forgiving spirit, and you really have to want to save your marriage and accept it as, okay, this happened, I'm going to work through my healing to get over this. I'm going to forgive you. It's not an overnight process, but I'm going to do what I need to because I still love my husband. And, we've got X amount of years behind us. And I don't want to give up on us because of this that has taken place. I think someone was saying last week, you can't say it was an accident or it's like, whoops, you really can't say that. And I do get that. Someone was saying that last week before we ended. But you do have to look at it as if, for me, I would need to know what happened between you and I, husband and wife, that caused you to step outside the marriage. I can't call it a mistake because, in my opinion, I don't foresee it as a mistake. Because I think that you knew exactly what you were doing when you were doing it. You just didn't plan for a baby to come out of it.
I think Glenda got a great point there, but what I feel is layered. When a child is involved, when a child come into the marriage, especially the wife is blindsided with this child, her husband has cheated and has a child and has a baby mother. I think it's layers. I think your feelings would be one of the layers, but also the layer is the baby first. Let's put the baby first. And when you're putting the baby first, sometimes people feel like you put the wife completely bottom, or wife completely out. But that's why I said this got to be layered. And the purpose, and Glenn, I commend you for having this topic and who brought it up, because this is something that happens a lot. And think about it. If you're going through it right now, if you're a wife going through it right now, you don't know you have problems dealing with your own feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
tonight, some of the things we're talking about are some of the things that can help this lady think through. She can see all sides of the coin, all sides of the scenario. Because a lot of times when you have stuff that's bigger than you, just to hear how other people went through it, just to hear some other solutions, bring you peace or let you know that you're not in this by yourself. You're not the only one.
Right.
Because sometimes when you feel like the only one, it seems like you got a big weight on your shoulders over your head, press you down and no hope.
Right.
But there's a way forward. There's definitely a way forward. Now, we're not saying to stay, we're not saying to leave.
Correct.
But what we're saying, there's a way forward. Okay? Go ahead.
Right. Now, something you did say while you were talking, Mr. Carpenter, you said something about the child in the beginning. Now, I know for me, like just speaking hypothetically, but you have to, from my experience, because I've never been in this situation in a marriage, and I've been married twice, but I've been in a similar situation during a relationship. But what I have seen is that the child is always going to be taken care of, whether it's the mom by herself, even pulling and tugging on the dad to pull his part, whether it's through the court system or not. I mean, the child's always gonna, be taken care of. because that's like, okay, I know it was, this baby just appeared. I shouldn't say appeared, but the baby is here. But a lot of, I think for the sake of the topic, a lot of the hurt and the pain and a lot of the healing more or less comes for the married woman in the equation. So it's not so much, because I think you were saying that the baby comes first. I think the baby always comes first because the child can't take care of itself. So the baby's going to always be taken care of, whether voluntary or involuntary. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer, hands down. But it's right about now, it's the wife that has just been blindsided with this child, this affair, are there any more out there that I need to know about? Do we need to, what else can we, do we need to discuss this a little bit further? Is this one and done? I mean, it's a lot, but I think a lot of the pain and the hurt and a lot of the healing is more so for the wife in the equation. Because trying to help her deal with, how can she accept what he has done and accept this child in the family and deal with the baby mama at the same time. Because, like, right with the example, she still has assets to the father, but without boundaries. And if he doesn't put his foot down and say, okay, look, don't call my house at midnight unless, the baby is on the way to the doctor, the hospital, there was an accident, because anything after that, really, we don't have nothing to talk about. Because there's no relationship between me and you. We're just co-parenting this child.
Audience, what do you feel about what she just said? What are your thoughts?
I think that the person that's calling after 12 o'clock is still trying to rekindle the relationship along with taking care of the child. And you can be on the phone with people, but eventually your emotions is going to get involved, and then there you are again, you're doing the same thing over again. So I really don't think, this is my opinion, don't think that a person should be calling after 12 o'clock unless she's communicating with the wife.
So you kind of agree with Sharon that, hey, look, now the wife is having a more of a role than the husband have in this scenario with the child.
Right. Yes, to keep things on the upper level, because the emotions, after you've stopped talking to this person, they're still there. The feelings are still there. And if a person hasn't truly let go by any means necessary, they will call, whether it be I need a shoelace or whatever, to get to conversate with that man. But after 12 o'clock, nah, I don't think that's right.
What would be a decent cutoff time for communication?
It's not so much as the cutoff time as it is being respectful.
Okay.
And who you communicate with, because if it were me and I had baby daddy or whatever, I would communicate with her to keep peace and to let her know, hey, this is on the level. We're in this together, and this is what we're gonna do. But calling after 12 o'clock, no.
Let me share a real scenario that's a real scenario, and everything we're talking about is real, and that's how we get to this point. When Glenda asked what would be a good cutoff, there was a wife that said never. Said you ain't gonna have nothing to do with this child, and the child's mother ain't gonna have nothing to do with you. She laid with you and got the baby, so now she has the baby. You have you have a wife and a child over here, and that's where your responsibility is, and you need to understand that. And if you don't understand that, then you won't be with us long, meaning death. And that scenario played out. So, and I bring that up to let you know that some people are really forgiving and understanding. Some people aren't. Some people ain't gonna put up with the foolishness, as they call it. So there's two sides to this coin. Like Sharon said that, hey, look, she would take the lead with the child more so with the other woman. But there's scenarios where the other people, he ain't got nothing to do with them. They were outside. They stayed the heck outside. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, the child is the one that's going to be hurt here, because if you stop talking or having anything to do with that, then that child comes up a different kind of way.
Somebody's breathing hard. Whoever that's breathing hard, go ahead. Get it in.
That wasn't me, but can y'all hear me though?
Yes, I can hear
Go ahead.
Now, see, my opinion of that is totally different, because I feel like, why would I tell him he couldn't have nothing to do with the child? Because who does have a partner that would put his own child, behind a woman?
Right.
No, I don't like that either. No.
She wasn't strong enough for the whole scenario. She wasn't strong. Because I would agree. I wouldn't want, even though this was an unforeseen event, I wouldn't try to tell my spouse not to be a part of the child's life, because those feelings will roll down to the child, and the child can feel some type of way as they get older. My daddy didn't want anything to do with me,
And not just that. Oh, I'm sorry,
no,
Linda.
go ahead.
And not just that. It's like telling someone, I don't like your mother, so you can't speak to your mother no more because we married. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody was breathing real hard when I said what I said, and I think they want to bring that out. I think they're thinking about how they're going to say what they're going to say. So now's the time for whoever that was to go ahead and share your thoughts.
I'm not sure who it was. It could have been me. I don't know.
I think it was you, but I don't want to say that.
But I disagree. I look at it like this. It's between that outside woman and that man. That married wife or husband, that married person. I'm sorry. That person created this child. And that person on the outside mother or whomever, they have a right to contact that man anytime they need to about their child. Now, as far as the timing is concerned, it's not for that woman to say nothing to that other woman. It's if it's a difference of opinion or a difference in timing, the man needs to of that marriage needs to make all information he need that outside woman to know as far as contacting him. He is the one. It's between him and her. Now, what goes on in that marriage, that's between the husband and that wife. That's on their part. So if I was that outside woman with that child, that married woman couldn't tell me nothing, not one thing. Because as far as I'm concerned, he knew he was married when he came and got the child. I knew he was married when he came and got the child. She was at home, and for some reason, she probably knew he was out doing whatever he did. And that's just the product of what he did. But you, the wife, not going to come and tell me nothing. This is my child. So if this is my child, I'm going to defend my child. Sharon, you need to hold off a minute.
Go ahead, Annette.
So I'm going to defend my child. And if I need to talk to this man about my child at any hour, it's up to him to tell me, listen, sweetie, you just can't be calling me right now, or don't answer the doggone phone. Do what you got to do. Anything that an outside woman call that man about, as far as she's concerned, it's important to her. And it's between him and her to determine the importance of their calls or when to call. That's the way I see it.
Okay, let me say this. Okay, now I'm looking at it like this. If that woman know he was already married or whatever, regardless of why she got involved with him or he got involved with her, why would you have wanted to bring a child in that situation anyway?
because of the things that he was saying to her. He know why he got that child.
Yeah, but if he married and he messing with you, that means you know he gonna say what he think he has to say to still be with you.
It doesn't matter. She was in a relationship with him. He knows what he and she both knows what it takes to get a child. So he knows what his responsibilities were before he went there, and he know what he needed to do to protect himself. And if he didn't do that, oh well, he became another daddy.
This is why I brought that up, because I wanted us to realize there's a whole lot of sides to this. It's, you may think this way and the other person may think that way. So when you're talking about how this is going to play out, there's so many scenarios. And that's why we need to know it all. We need to bring it all out. And we're not gonna challenge each other in this conversation. All we're gonna do is tell how you feel about it, and then you share. And that's what this is about. So the wife or the other woman can see this from other people's eyes, and they can collect their own thoughts and how they can move forward. Go ahead, ladies.
Well, well, y'all can go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
go
Go ahead. Everybody's in.
I think I'm listening to both women, and I think it comes honest opinion to me. I think it comes down to morals, and I think it comes down to respect. Just like if I have a friend or I'm trying to reach somebody and they're married, I'm not calling their husband at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling the wife. Regardless of if they have a child or not, it's a respect thing. And it's not just between the husband and that wife anymore, because now that the husband and the outside lady, the wife is involved. She has something to do with that child, because now that child has to come to her house. That child has to eat off her money. That she has to help take care of that child. It's not just going to be his responsibility, because when she decides to stay in that marriage or don't, she accepts that child as she would her own. So to me, that's kind of an oxymoron when you're saying it's a contradiction. It really is, when you're saying the wife doesn't have any involvement with that child. You have to have respect for the wife, and you have to have respect for the marriage. Maybe he didn't have respect for it when he stepped out. I understand that. But you show your true character and your morals when you guys set guidelines down, because at the end of the day, the wife is going to be involved in that child's life. It's common sense. Just like if you flip it around and the outside woman got married, her husband wouldn't want another man calling her at 12 o'clock in the morning. That'd become a problem. It's a respect thing. They talk man to man. Hey, you can't call my wife at this time, and he has to respect that, and vice versa. It should go both ways. But honestly, to me, when it gets to things like that, it comes down to upbringing. It comes down to your morals. It comes down to how you respect people. It comes down to your background. Just like some people ride with people and they offer them gas money. Some people ride with people and don't even think twice about it. It's common courtesy. But to me, when your morals and respect and how you go about things like that shows a lot about a person.
And a lot of times it's the other woman herself. Sometimes other women understand that everybody's involved and they are respectful and they do have the concern for their child and the wife and their children and their relationship. But some people, like you say, Terry, because the way they're raised, some people don't. I'm gonna say this like the people in Portsmouth, Virginia say, "I don't give a F." And I hate to say it, and I laugh when I said it, but it's so true. Sometimes the outside person don't give a, and sometimes the inside, the wife don't give a. So it's so much here.
True. You are absolutely right. Did anybody else want to add anything?
I think at the end of the day, the child is the one that's really gonna suffer
Always.
because of the parents not getting along and not, you know, figuring out a way to get it done. And the child is the one that's going to end up being hurt more or less than the three people that's arguing.
Right, the three adults. Right, correct.
Mhm.
I've seen two scenarios where the child has grown now, and in both scenarios, the child had issues. It affected the child really, really, and it's affecting child today. A
Okay.
grown person now, two grown people now out there have so much hate and animosity towards the father and the other and the mother because of that. So this is real. When you say the child's affected, Gigi, you're 100% correct.
Mm. So the child never so in the examples you were just talking about, what scenario did they fall
Okay.
into?
One scenario was that the mother, the wife of the husband, said, "Shut everything down. Says you ain't gonna have nothing to do with her, and she ain't gonna have nothing to do with you. That family's over there. This family's here, and you better not go over there."
Okay.
And that was the way that was done throughout. So the child was born, the child was raised. Now the child has the child don't know what side of the family to deal with. The child now is more of a loner because of that. The child's a lone wolf because he feel like he wasn't a part of the pack.
Right.
The other scenario was the other scenario where the wife said, "Okay, I will have something to do with the child, but here's the rules. The child can't do this, the baby mama can't do that, and you can take care of the child, but here's how it's going to go."
Okay.
That scenario, the child came up, the child hated the father. The child had so much animosity between the father. Now the child liked the wife of the husband, but the child didn't like his biological father. The child has so much animosity towards the biological father because the child felt like they were never always included into the whole family. That there was a difference. That he or she was always treated different, and
Okay.
because of that difference, they felt because their dad let it happen. Their
Okay.
dad didn't make everything equal across the board for that child.
Right.
And these are the two scenarios that's real life that I've seen play out.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a scenario where the parents don't communicate at all. I've seen it. It works. Did it affect the child? No. He's happy. He is happy with both sets of the parents. The mother's married, and the way he sees his son is the mom meets the grandparents somewhere, picks up the child. She communicates through the grandparents. I mean, now, it took years to build that type of situation because you have people that are better towards people.
Right.
But it's all type of scenarios. But ultimately, like you say, it's all about the child. So when you get into the parents and he can't call this time, she can't call that, it's really about how mature or how adult these individuals are that brought the child in the world. How much do they respect one another? Because the scenario I know, he would never, ever, ever, ever call that man's wife at no 1 o'clock, 2. Now, if it's an emergency,
Right.
it has to be an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
then okay, understandable. But even then, I think maybe the grandparents will reach out before he does. But in that case, okay, but he would never cross that line. And their dynamic has worked for years. It's been working. They can be amicable and cordial when it comes to birthday parties and things like that. But like I said, it affects the kid. It's things that have affected me as a child, and it took me a long time as an adult to forgive, and this is years ago, and I'm older. But that's the thing. Most people are so concerned about who he's sleeping with, or what he doing, or is he going, than they are about the child. It's people in this world who are more concerned about a relationship than they are the well being of the child.
And that's why I'm glad that all sides brought it, because this is real stuff. This happens every day in a relationship. This happens every day. In some relationships, the child don't even realize what they're a part of. So this happens a very lot. So I'm glad you guys brought this out. Any additional comments on this one before we go to the next one?
There's something
Next,
in the chat.
what is it?
But I wonder for the child is believed to be happy. I wonder if it affects the relationship of the child in their own personal relationships. I
That's
believe it does.
that's deep. I don't know how to answer that one.
I believe it does too. I mean,
I think
I
it
think
does.
the things that traumatized me as a child to this day, I will bring in. I will bring into a relationship. Like I don't. Well, a lot of people don't know. Personally, I came up in a home where my father was military, so all he did was he's loud. He's loud, and he's a loud person. Military people are strict. They loud, and so my requirements is if you loud or you yell, I can't deal with it. I don't want to talk to you. And so it's different things that do affect you as a child that you take into relationships. And so now my thing, I wouldn't even want to talk to anybody in the military. I know you can't I can't project that onto other people. But because I didn't like the way military men um conduct themselves, like getting up early in the morning, wiping baseboards. You up at 4 o'clock in the morning wiping baseboards as strict. I don't want to. I don't want to get involved with that. Now I'm okay with it that I'm older. When I was younger, I didn't want to deal with that.
Understand. Any more comments about this one before we move on to the next one?
Well, I was married. I thought I was happily married, and my husband stepped out on me, and I had us a son, and he stepped out and had a daughter. And me personally, I couldn't handle it, so I left. We divorced, but he still maintained a relationship with my son.
And I'm glad you guys brought a lot of this out, because you see there's so many different I'm not gonna say solutions, because it's not a solution. There's so many ways forward from this, and there's no right or no wrong, but because each situation has its own remedy. So there's no right or wrong. It's just that some of the things we do, because when you look at the time, the place, the people, the situation, some movement forwards are dictated, where other movements forward fall by chance. And no matter how it happens, the child is very important, and the wife in the middle is very important, because the child can't protect his or herself, and the wife in the middle is blindsided. The wife in the middle is there she's brought into the husband's vision. She's doing everything to help raise her family, everything she's doing to support her husband. When she all of a sudden find out, oh my Lord, I thought you and I was against the world, and I realized I'm the odd person out. So there's no easy way forward. Everyone is affected by it. And as this is something we see every day in our lives. We're part of it. We've got family, friends are a part of it. So thank you for your comments on this. You guys are,
Rufus,
yes, sir.
I beg the difference with the comment you just made. There's
Which part of it?
no wrong. You said there ain't a right or wrong way. That's bull. It is a right way. In certain situations, it is right. Like, for example, I went a year and a half without seeing my son, all out of spite. She kept my son away totally. I had to take him back to court. Just because I got remarried, don't give you the right to keep my son away from me.
Mm.
That was wrong. That was straight wrong. So for you to sit there and say there ain't no wrong way or right way, I don't see that, and I don't understand that statement. So
Okay,
let
Mr.
you can.
King,
I don't believe that.
you brought in a different element. You brought in where the child was being used as a ploy in this, where the person used the child, used that normal love and instinct where father and child should bond and be together. Seemed like the wife. I'm not sure the wife or the other woman is the one that kept you away. Which one, Mr. Kingdom?
The other woman,
The
my
other woman.
ex-wife,
The ex, okay, so the wife at the time is the one that
the
kept
ex.
away from the child. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's a scenario. Yeah, I can understand your point of view here, sir.
And then as far as the kid suffering, it's building a good strength within that kid also on certain situations. Like through all that ordeal,
Mm-hmm.
when he do get with me
Uh-huh.
and he sees the love that I give to him, I show him, he's getting older now where he can make his own judgment.
Mm.
And he realized himself what's going on. My son just turned 9 recently, and he's learning a lot on his own. I ain't got to teach him nothing to him. He's opened his eyes to see for us, and kids nowadays like computers. They don't forget shit.
Okay. And I'm glad you brought that out, sir, because right now
They
it
like
was
elephant. They don't forget nothing. Car broke down, but you still driving. Kids remember that stuff. You know what I mean? And that time's gonna come where karma kicks in.
Mm.
You understand? And it'll come back to bite you. That's why even in my situation now, I just sit back and accept it and deal with it. And then when I get tired of dealing with it, I do what I have to do. Because like I've always said, and I'll die saying, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you do what's necessary to get it done where you're not that way anymore.
Linda, read what's in the chat because I think I saw a couple things in the chat that were really good,
Okay.
that really hit home here.
All right. One of the comments, the most recent comment in the chat was to Mr. Keenum's point. I wonder how kids may see what's normal, etc. Like if his son was a daughter, would she follow suit of what the mom did?
Oh, so in that scenario, it's saying we're teaching children how to handle the situation. We're giving them examples, whether it's the right example or wrong example. We're setting future trends.
Right.
Okay.
Sad to say, I've seen it play out where it does have a huge effect on the child, and the child, what they say, is it emulate what they see the parents have done? I've seen that multiple times, and even with my sons today, and it's kind of hard to correct grown kids or grown people after the damage is done, but you still provide, good feedback and guidance to let them know, I understand what happened to you. I didn't make all the right decisions as your parent, but at the same time, I did the best that I could with what I had. But what you're doing, this is not right. And this is not going to get you the results that you're looking for because I've already been there, done that. So as kids get older, they have to see and go through for themselves to be able to recover and uh, be better productive citizens. I mean, I've seen this play out currently as of today. And, children, they do play out what they have seen.
Emulate the parents.
They do. They
Yep.
do. And it's
Because
hard to
what they
correct
do,
it.
because what they do is, it's like that old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. If
Mm,
your kids is raised up in a broken home or a halfway home or whatever, that's all they know.
right.
They don't know no different until they get in the world and realize the difference. So yes, it has a big role to play. But then the average kid, not all of them, the average kid, once they get of age, a certain age, they start realizing for themselves
Yes.
how they was raised is wrong or right. They make that decision. We don't do it. We don't change them. All we can do is show and tell them so they can come back and say, well, I didn't know.
Right.
You understand? That's what happened because there is no book nowhere that tells you how to raise your kids.
True.
They got books out there, so what, trying to say you do this, do that, but there's no book, no right or wrong way to raise a kid. It's common sense, and it takes a village to raise that kid. I don't care whose kids it is. Damn, it got quiet.
I when Glenda said that the children emulate, my one of my sons, me and him talk a lot, and he's a good child. And we talk, and I was trying to tell him one thing that he was doing that I've done, and I did it the wrong way, and I was trying to tell him the right way, and he told me, "Pop." He said, "Pop, didn't you do it? Didn't you have your chance to make your own decisions?" I said, "Yes, son." He said, "Okay, this is my chance." What could I say? I said, "Son, it's my job as your father to let you know here's the outcome. Here's some of the possible outcomes if you go the route you're going." My son shut me down and said, "Hey, look, Pop, you had the chance to make your own decisions. It's my time now." So kids do emulate what they see. Because Dr. Hendon put in there that the child need to see the parent, or the parent need to confess when they're wrong to the child, which is very right. But sometimes the parent don't do it until it's too late, till the parent is grown. The parent don't do it while the child
Well,
still help the child.
well, let me show you something.
Mm-hmm.
I have a daughter that's turning 30 this year.
Mm-hmm.
I spoiled her rotten. You understand? It was nothing too good for my child. But here's the thing. The mom felt the same way. The mom grew up raising her kids Nikes, Nikes, Nikes. She ain't too good. My kid ain't too good for this. This is all they want to wear. Okay. I raised my kids. My daughter got what she got, but I explained to my daughter why she get what she get. When you're obedient and doing as you told, when you're getting the good grades and you respectable, I reward you. I don't just give you because I can. I'm not giving you what I want to give you. I'm giving you what you earn, which means you have a choice in what you want. Now, my she'll be 30 this year and got 3 kids and a husband. My daughter is not materialistic no more. My daughter done took the values that I taught her and showed her to oppose to what her mom did. And I got a letter she wrote me years ago after her and her mom, me and her mom got a divorce. And that letter states, and she still tells me to this day, why couldn't my mom be like you, Dad? She wouldn't allow them to wear nothing other than Jordans. You understand? But my daughter had to get of age to realize for herself the value of materialistic stuff to the value of life itself. And now she'll tell you quick, Dad ain't into that material stuff. I just want nice stuff. I don't care who makes it or where it come from. If it's nice in my book, I want it. Because at 3 or 4 years old, them light up shoes, she was crazy about it. All the kids had them. Mom refused to buy them because they didn't come in Nikes. I told my daughter, if you want them shoes, you get them shoes. And you wear them. She wore them proudly. You understand? So now, once she became of age, and that's what I was telling Glenda and the young lady, when you become of age as a child, you learn right and wrong, and you have a conscience and a what you call it, where you can decipher yourself. And that's where the teaching really comes in at. When they get of age, they know that the way they was upbringing was right or wrong or not, and
Can
they
I
have a
ask a
choice to
question?
follow that process.
Mr. Kingdom, somebody that
I
want
shut up.
to.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
And I understand, Mr. Kingdom, what you're saying, but this is just my question. To the child that is a product of the system that doesn't have the ability to get the things, name brands or whatever, what do you say to that child? How do you encourage that child? How do you train that child? What do you do for that child?
You asking me?
I'm asking you, what do you
Okay.
think about it? Yes.
Let me explain to you what I tell the kids every day. Even in my seminars I used to give and stuff. This is what I tell young kids today. It takes three things in this world within yourself to become successful. The first thing is, okay, you got to sacrifice. Meaning, once you pick a subject or a school topic that you want to go and endeavor in, or a business, you got to sacrifice a lot of different things to get there. You got to have determination. You got to be determined and be forceful within yourself to reach it, that goal. And the third thing is you got to have the patience to allow God to work it out where it comes to play. You can't rush it. You can follow up on it because that's part of your job, but not rush it. And it'll come to you. That's what I explain to them. Sacrifice. Well, your brothers and your family and your friends out there going drinking, smoking, or clubbing or whatever, it costs money. Sacrifice not doing that. Save that money to pursue your happiness and goals in school. Be determined to stay in there and sacrifice. And then you'll have the patience once you get the papers. That's what I tell them.
Okay.
That will break the cycle.
Okay. Any last remarks before we turn this over to Glenda? Because it's about time to go home. Any last
Wait a
remarks?
minute, let me answer this. Did that answer your question?
We'll talk about it
Okay,
next time.
Okay.
we'll do.
All right. Any last comments before we turn this over to Glenda? I mean, Coach Glenda, I'm sorry. Okay, Coach Glenda.
All right, as always, thank you so much for showing up and participating tonight. As we close tonight, remember this: you are allowed to feel hurt, confused, angry, or uncertain without feeling guilty for it. Healing takes honesty, patience, and compassion towards yourself. You do not have to rush your process. Thank you for showing up tonight and sharing this space with me. This is Coach Glenda, your Rise Again woman, reminding you you can still reset, reconnect, and rise. I'll see you next Sunday night at 9. Good night, everyone.
So, Glenda, is this the end of this subject?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
you got still a lot more.
But you got some
Oh,
comments.
okay. Okay.
You want this to be the last night? What you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
You must have something you want to share, Sharon. Go ahead. You
Oh no,
got 2 minutes.
I don't. I mean, I don't. It's just because, now that